Have you ever wondered why women wash dishes? Let's find out the reason why in this story. Read aloud as you watch the video.
For more English grammar and literature lessons, please like and subscribe.
Why Women Wash Dishes by Filomena Colendrino. In the town of Santa Rosa there once lived a couple named Hugo and Imelda. Every mealtime they quarreled over the chore of washing the dishes. Imelda would scold Hugo if he refused to wash the dishes. Sometimes she would become angry and call him names, and if he talked back, she would get coconut midrib broom and chase him with it. He would run to the house of his compadre and hide there till his wife's anger had passed. The neighbors familiarly called Imelda, Maldang, and Hugo, Ugong. One day just as they were finishing their lunch, Ugong announced, "I'm not going to wash the dishes anymore." He threw out his chest and lifted his chin. "Who says so?" asked Maldang, holding up her chin, higher than his. "I say so. I worked so hard in the field this morning. I'm not going to wash any dish." Maldang stood up and with her arms akimbo, she glared down at Ugong across the table. She was a big woman. Her arms were stout. Her voice was also big. "And who, Mr. Hugo, is going to wash these dishes?" she asked. Ugong's chest sank again. His chin also went down. He held on the edge of the table nervously. "You," he said in a much lower tone. "You are the woman. You should do all the housework." "And what do you do?" asked Maldang. "You tie the carabao to the reeds in the field and then you lie down on the grass to watch it graze. You call that hard work? I cook, clean the house, wash your clothes, I scrub the floor, I do all the work that only slaves should do. And yet, you even refuse to help me wash the plate which you have eaten." Maldang's voice was now raised to a high pitch and her tears posed on her eyelids at Ugong and at her broom. She grabbed the broom. She raised the broom to strike him, crying, You lazy man." Ugong ducked under the table. "Don't," he cried. "Don't strike me. Come out from under the table, you coward," ordered Maldang. "Lay down your broom," said Ugong. All right, come out." Maldang put her broom behind the door. Ugong returned to his seat opposite her at the table. "What have you to say?" asked Maldang, wiping her eyes. "Let's stop quarreling over the plates. Let's have a wager. The first one who will speak after I'd said begin will wash the dishes." "Always only that?" said Maldang. "The first one who talks will always wash the plates, and bowls, and pots and pans." "Always right," said Ugong. "If you ever say just one word to me or to anybody, or to anything after I had said begin, you will always wash the dishes." "That's easy. I can keep my mouth shut even for a week." "You can't. You even talk to your carabao." "All right, are you ready?" asked Ugong. Maldang sat upright in front of him across the table. She nodded her head, compressed her lips, and Ugong said begin. They both fell silent. They sat at the table looking at each other across the unwashed plates and bowls and spoons. They did not like to leave each other for fear that one would talk to himself without the other's hearing. They sat there just staring. Soon the cat began to meow for its food. Neither Maldang nor Ugong paid attention to its meowing. The cat jumped upon the drying dishes to lick the leftovers. Maldang did not drive the cat away. Neither did Ugong. The cat licked the pot and pan on it, overturned a kettle, spilled its contents, then went to lie down under the table. Ugong pretended that nothing had happened. He continued to sit still, and so did Maldang. Soon, it was getting late in the afternoon, but they went on sitting mutely at the lunch table. Their eyes were tired from staring hard at each other. Tears began to roll down their cheeks. Ugong's shirt became damp with his sweat. Maldang's sweat gathered on her forehead, and trickled down to the sides of her face, and fell drop by drop to her breast. Then a neighbor called, "Compadre." Ugong did not answer. The neighbor called again, "Comadre Maldang. You who? May I borrow your axe?" Maldang did not answer. Ugong looked at her silently. "Perhaps nobody is at home," they heard the neighbor say to himself. "But why did they leave their ladder at the door? They usually remove the ladder when they go away. Well, I'll just go up, get the axe and return it later." The neighbor went up. When the neighbor went up the bamboo ladder, he was surprised to see Maldang and Ugong sitting silently at the table where the plates had dried up with the leftovers. He hurried toward them. Ugong neither moved nor talked. The neighbor repeated his question. He shook Ugong's shoulder. Ugong let him shake him, closing his lips tighter. The neighbor turned to Maldang. "Speak, comadre. What happened?" He shook her shoulders, too. She pushed him roughly aside but did not speak. "Did you eat something poisonous? Some food that has made you dumb?" He shook each one alternately. But still neither stood up nor talked. The neighbor was alarmed. He did not get the axe but ran out to the rest of the neighbors. He told them that something terrible had happened to his compadre and comadre. The neighbors gathered at Maldang's dining room. They took turns trying to make them speak. But the two continued to sit staring at each other in silence. Maldang looked at her husband threateningly for a moment, then closed her eyes. Ugong knew that she did so to avoid looking at the neighbors. He also closed his eyes and ignored everyone who had come up to his house. Maldang was very angry with her compadre's interference, but she dared not to speak her mind. She pretended to be asleep. The compadre was very much worried. He ran to the village herb man. The herb man came, and when he saw the motionless, silent husband and wife sitting at the table, he declared that they were bewitched. He spread a woven mud mat in the center of the sala and asked the bewitched couple to lie down. Ugong obediently lay down and closed his eyes. He curled up and went to sleep. But Maldang refused to get up from where she sat at the dining table. The herb man said, "The spirit that has taken possession of her is very stubborn. I must break its spell." He turned, then produced from a small bag which he always carried 9 pieces of betel leaf, a piece of areca nut, and a little lime from a tiny bottle. He examined the leaves closely to choose those which had veins running in identical arrangements on each side of the midrib. He cut the nut into 9 pieces. He spread a little lime on each betel leaf, rolled them and wrapped them around each piece of areca nut. He now had 9 rings of the leaves. "This represents the lost spirit of the couple," he said. He chewed the leaf and nut. When he had chewed it, he spat it on his palm, dipped a forefinger of the other hand into the nut-colored saliva and marked with it a cross on the foreheads of Ugong and Maldang. Ugong did not seem to feel the old man's finger on his forehead. Maldang caught the man's forefinger and twisted it. The old herb doctor cried "Hooray!" and pulled back his hand. He moved toward Ugong, who was lying down, calling his name softly and slowly several times. "Come, Ugong, come back." Ugong did not move nor speak. "Come, Maldang, come home to your body now, come, Maldang," chanted the old man. Maldang did not answer. Evening fell on the frightened village, frightened because the herb doctor said that the spell might be cast on some other villagers besides Ugong and Maldang. He called to the bewitched couple softly at first, and then louder, but became tired, so she reclined against the bamboo wall. The old herman said, "This is the first witchery of its kind that I have met here. By their silence I believe that they are dead. Their spirits, driven away by the witch, have left their bodies. The only thing to do in order to keep their souls in peace and to prevent this witchery craft from spreading among us is to bury them." The man easily lifted Ugong and places him inside his coffin. Surely, he thought to himself, he would win the wager. He would not be afraid of being buried. Why, he would just get cut of the grave when the neighbors were gone. He thought everything going on was great fun and he was enjoying himself. How he would frighten them more when he returned from his grave. The herb man approached Maldang. Although her eyes were closed, she had been listening to her directions. She was afraid that he would surely force her into the coffin if she did not tell him to go away. But she did not want to talk. She hoped her husband would object to the men's lifting her into the coffin. "Surely, Hugo will not let me be buried tomorrow. I'm afraid to sleep in that coffin tonight. No, I'll not let them lift me into it," she thought to herself. But she did not hear Ugong speak. She opened her eyes just as the herb man, aided by two other men, put his arms around her to lift up from her chair. Maldang pushed the men, got up to her feet, and shouted, "Don't touch us! Get out! Get out of my house! Shame on you for coming here, meddling with our lives!" Ugong leapt to his feet. He also shouted, "You talked first." He jumped about clapping his hands and saying to the astonished neighbors, "She talked first. We had a wager. Now she will always wash the dishes." Maldang lifted up the lid of Ugong's coffin to strike his head with it, but he ran out with his neighbors, still shouting happily and saying, "I won, I knew I would win. Now I'll never wash dishes." Why Women Wash Dishes by Filomena Colendrino. Let's check your reading comprehension skills. Analyze the issue in the story and then share your opinion. You may also raise questions you have in mind about the topic. 1. What was the reason of Ugong and Maldang's argument? 2. How did they solve their argument? 3. Did they settle their argument the right way? Why or why not? 4. If you were to give your opinion, how would you solve their argument? 5. What negative traits are being portrayed in the story?
For more English grammar and literature lessons, please subscribe. Thank you.